everyone, and welcome back to another video. I'm really excited about today's video because we're going to be talking about travel, and I absolutely love travel. I love the feeling of visiting a new place and walking around in the sunshine, trying new things, and staying in a hotel. So this weekend, tomorrow, it is Valentine's, and my fiance and I have planned a little mini staycation here in my hometown. So travel restrictions are still in place and I can't exactly leave the city. So what we've done is we've booked a hotel in the city, and we're gonna kind of treat it like we're new visitors to the city, and we'll try new things and try out new restaurants. So just like I get creative itches to try something new and create something or explore something, I also get these travel itches all the time where I just need to like get out and explore and travel. And so that's what we're going to be doing this weekend, which really brings me to today's video, which is what camera for travel photography and why I personally went with Olympus. So before we get into the video, I do want to say that this video is not sponsored by Olympus. I was not asked to make this video. I just wanted to talk about that experience of what I went through and what I was looking for when I was purchasing my travel camera, and the things that I considered, in the hopes that it will help you figure out your perfect travel camera. I do find this a challenging topic because I think buying a camera and investing into a camera brand is a very personal decision based off of what I find important might not be what you find important. So how I'll structure today's video is the first part will be kind of what to consider in buying a travel camera based off of my experience and what I was looking for. And the second part will be why I chose Olympus over other camera brands. So let's get into the video. What to consider in a travel camera. Now, like I said in the introduction, I think buying a camera is a very personal decision, and your perfect travel camera might be different than my perfect travel camera, because what I find important and I need to have in a camera might be different for you. So what I'll do is I'll just list some things to consider in buying a travel camera based off of my experience of what I was looking for in a travel camera back in the spring last year. The first is compactness and weight of the camera. Now, this was a huge factor, that I wanted a very lightweight and compact camera when it came to traveling, for two reasons. One, I really like to pack light when I am traveling to a destination and when I'm traveling around a destination. I never wanted to risk the chance that if the camera was too bulky and heavy, that I would leave it behind, or I would leave it behind in the hotel room, and that I would miss opportunities to shoot. So I wanted to make sure that the camera I was buying was compact and lightweight. And the second reason is that the camera needed to also be able to handle the adventures that I was going to be putting it through, whether it was, you know, backpacking Patagonia, photographing city life in Japan, or going on an African safari. The camera had to be able to handle those kinds of adventures. The second factor that I considered into my decision was the lens selection. I wanted a camera brand that had a good variety of lenses with really great quality glass. So I wasn't looking for a brand that had, you know, tons and tons of lenses. That wasn't the thing, because I didn't want to accumulate gear that I was only going to use once and never again. I was just looking for a camera brand that had good quality lenses and a good variety of lenses for any future purchases and any future needs that I might have. The third factor I considered into my decision was my budget. How much can you actually afford, and what is your budget for the camera? Because there are some expensive cameras out there, and I had a budget of about $2,000 for a body and a lens, which for some of you is like not a lot, because I know a lot of people have like $10,000 plus gear, and that's what my budget was. That's how much I set for myself. I needed a body and a starter lens at $2,000, and that also meant that any future lenses that I was buying also needed to be within this budget range of $2,000 to $3,000, and this really helped narrow down the search. It also meant that maybe I was looking at buying an older model of camera and investing more into the lenses and then upgrading the body when I was ready. So I was also looking, when it came to like budget and the camera brand, if it had that capability to do so. The fourth and fifth factors were kind of additional features that I just wanted the camera to have, and one of the really important ones was an articulating screen. It was really important that the camera I was buying had an articulating screen where basically I could see myself if I had the camera set up somewhere else. And it was important because I was going to be taking this traveling with me, you know, when my fiance and I go on our honeymoon or when we go on vacations. I wanted to have a camera where I could essentially do self-portraits of us in a location and use the screen if I'm trying to photograph something in a very unfavorable location. So it was just really important that the camera I was buying just had the additional feature of an articulating screen. And then the last feature was sort of that Wi-Fi connection to your phone. I wanted a camera that had that, and most often these days a lot of the cameras now have that feature where you could basically send or control the camera from your phone. And I wanted this because depending on the trip, if it's domestic and international, most often I bring my laptop with me just for, you know, Netflix in the hotel or stuff like that to work on while we're at the hotel, but it's not always. So when I took a 3-week trip to Greece, I didn't bring my laptop with me because it would have just been too bulky and it added too much weight to my stuff, and so I didn't bring my laptop with me. So on trips like that, I just wanted to have the capability to send images from my camera to my phone so I can do on-the-go editing and sharing. Now there are numerous other items that you might also want to include on the list, like battery life of your camera, the dual memory card slot, you know, accessories, mirrorless versus DSLR. So there's also a lot of other things that you might want to consider in your search for the perfect travel camera, but my best suggestion for you is to make a list. And this is what I did. I made a list of what I wanted, what I needed, what were super important to have in my camera body and my lenses, and then from that list I was able to kind of help narrow down basically the camera brands and the cameras that were going to do the job for me now and in the future. So that's my biggest suggestion. Alright, so after quite a bit of time and research, I probably researched into camera brands for like January, February, March, so maybe 2.5 months. I just conducted research into my perfect travel camera, and so I ended up purchasing the Olympus. Now you've all seen my Olympus before, but I purchased the Olympus EM1 Mark II, and it came as a kit with the Zuiko 12 to 40 mm f2.8 Pro lens. So this little guy ended up being $2,100, so it was $100 over my budget, but the lens and the body ended up being $2,100 off of Best Buy because they were having some sort of a sale, so I was able to shave off just a little bit of money. And I went with Olympus for a few reasons. One, it had everything that I was looking for in a camera. So Olympus does have really lightweight and compact cameras and lenses when it comes to outdoor travel adventure photography. It has a really great variety of lenses and they are super high quality, which is what I love and was also a factor in the decision-making process. It was within my budget. It has an articulating screen, and it also has Wi-Fi capability. From my experience as well, my Olympus has had really great battery life. So last summer I went to Vancouver for the weekend and I was able to use my camera pretty much all day. Like, I was visiting the Capilano Suspension Bridge, we were walking around downtown Vancouver, we were going to the beach, we were at Stanley Park. Like, we were doing a lot that weekend, and I did have to like charge the battery at the end of every day, but like that wasn't a a huge issue for me because we were going back to the hotel at the end of every day. So it had really great battery life. It also has dual memory card slots, and it's also very customizable, which some people like and some people really don't like, in that they find that the Olympus camera and the Olympus menu is really confusing. But I kind of like it that it's so customizable and that you can map any button to do a variety of functions, and then you just really kind of have to like get used to the Olympus menu. But I really love my Olympus camera. So that's one of the reasons why I went with Olympus, is that it checked all of the boxes. It had everything that I was looking for in a camera brand, in a camera system. Another reason why I decided to go with Olympus is because of the Olympus community. I kind of grew attached to a lot of Olympus photographers, the images they were able to create with their Olympus cameras, how lightweight and compact their system was for their kind of photography. But overall, the Olympus community is also really, really wonderful. They're full of really encouraging and creative people. I loved all of the learning opportunities that Olympus shares, and so ultimately a second reason why I decided to go with Olympus was for the community. Now, I don't want to get into why I didn't exactly purchase other camera brands, other camera systems, but to give you kind of a brief insight into the reasoning why, I was also looking at Sony, Canon, and Fujifilm for travel cameras. And Sony does have a good lineup of travel cameras, and I want to say it was the Sony, maybe it was the Sony a6000. I can't quite remember the camera that I was looking at, because each camera system basically had a camera that I was comparing against each other to figure out which one was going to be my perfect travel camera. So there was a specific camera from Sony that was within my budget that I was comparing and looking into, but I ultimately decided not to go with that Sony camera because it didn't quite hit all of the boxes that I was looking for in my camera. And then when it came to Canon and Fujifilm, I also was having issues with sort of the camera system, the cameras, and hitting all of those boxes. I wasn't just 100% in love with the camera to justify spending the money, test them and use them. So I just ended up not going with Canon and Fujifilm for those reasons. And so it ultimately comes down to your personal choice. What matters to you, what you need, and what you want in a camera system. It really comes down to personal choice, and I really want to hone in on what I find is the perfect travel camera. Might be different for you, because what I find important in a camera is different for you. So it really comes down to personal choice and doing your own internal reflection and basically audit of what it is that you need in a camera, so you can find the best camera that suits you and your photography and what you want. So that was something that I did look at before I bought my camera. So before I bought my Olympus, I also watched tons of videos on what the perfect travel camera was. And I always struggled with it because everyone suggested a different camera brand. There was Panasonic and Fujifilm and Sony and Canon. Everyone had a different opinion on what their perfect travel camera was, and it's true. I feel there is no universal perfect camera because it all just changes on what you love to photograph and what you like in a camera, and you really just have to figure out what it is that matters to you, what it is that you want, and go from there. Look at all of the different camera brands, really take in all of the different wonderful cameras there are out there, and just find the one that's going to work for you. All right, everyone, so that is everything for today's video. I really hope you found it useful and that you're able to use some of this information when it comes to finding your perfect travel camera. Let me know in the comments below what camera you use and what's your perfect travel camera. If you like this video, please hit that like button below and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.